Poor girl and rich boy date at home. Then billionaire president suddenly returns. It's a crisp evening, the kind where the world feels just a little quieter, like it's holding its breath. In a modest apartment tucked away in the heart of the city, two people sit across from each other at a small wooden table. The soft glow of fairy lights strung around the room casts warm shadows on their faces. On one side is Mia, her hands nervously fidgeting with the hem of her sweater. She's not used to this, feeling so out of place, yet strangely comfortable all at once. Across from her sits Ethan, his tailored shirt slightly wrinkled after a long day, but still screaming wealth and privilege. Their worlds couldn't be more different, yet here they are, sharing takeout noodles in mismatched bowls as if nothing else matters. But tonight, something unexpected will shatter the fragile bubble they've built together. Mia has always lived paycheck to paycheck, scraping by with odd jobs while dreaming of something bigger. Her life has been a patchwork quilt of sacrifices and hard choices, stitched together with hope and determination. Ethan, on the other hand, grew up surrounded by luxury, his family name synonymous with power and influence. Yet beneath the polished exterior lies someone who craves authenticity, a connection that money can't buy. That's what brought them here, to this moment, sneaking moments of joy in secret, because neither of their lives would approve of such an unlikely pairing. They think no one knows about their meetings, their quiet dates hidden behind closed doors. But secrets have a way of unraveling when you least expect it. As the clock ticks closer to midnight, laughter fills the air between them. For a brief moment, everything feels perfect. Mia forgets about the rent she owes, the bills piling up, and the judgmental stares she gets when people find out where she comes from. Ethan forgets about boardroom meetings, his father's constant pressure, and the weight of expectations resting heavily on his shoulders. They're just two people, enjoying each other's company without pretense or fear. But then, the sound of a key turning in the lock freezes them both mid-conversation. The door swings open, and standing there is someone neither of them expected to see. Not now, not ever. Enter Daniel Harper, billionaire extraordinaire and current president of the most influential corporation in the country. He strides into the apartment like he owns the place, which technically he does. His sharp suit and commanding presence fill the room, instantly overshadowing the cozy atmosphere Mia and Ethan had worked so hard to create. There's an air of authority about him, but also something else, something darker, simmering beneath the surface. His piercing gaze lands first on Ethan, then shifts to Mia, taking in every detail with calculated precision. It's clear he wasn't expecting to find anyone here, let alone these two, and the look on his face suggests that whatever reason brought him back tonight, it wasn't good. The tension in the room becomes almost unbearable. Mia instinctively pulls her sweater tighter around herself, suddenly hyper-aware of how out of place she must seem next to Ethan and this imposing stranger. Ethan, usually so composed, looks visibly shaken, his earlier confidence replaced by unease. "What are you doing here?" he finally manages to ask, his voice betraying a mix of surprise and irritation. Daniel doesn't answer right away. Instead, he takes a slow, deliberate step forward, his eyes never leaving Mia's face. "I could ask you the same question," he says coolly, his tone laced with suspicion. The words hang in the air, heavy with unspoken implications. For Mia, the situation quickly spirals from awkward to alarming. Who is this man, really? Why does he look at her like he's trying to solve a puzzle? And why does Ethan seem so defensive, like he's hiding something far bigger than their secret relationship? as Daniel begins pacing the room, his polished shoes clicking against the hardwood floor. Mia can't shake the feeling that she's stumbled into something far beyond her understanding. This isn't just about two people from different worlds falling for each other. It's about power, control, and secrets that run deeper than either of them realized. Ethan tries to defuse the situation, stepping between Daniel and Mia, as if to shield her from whatever storm is brewing. This isn't what it looks like, he insists, though even he doesn't sound entirely convinced. Daniel raises an eyebrow, clearly unimpressed. Isn't it? He counters, his voice dripping with skepticism. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like my son is making some very questionable decisions. The word son hits Mia like a punch to the gut. Son. Ethan never mentioned having a father like this. Suddenly the pieces start falling into place. The expensive clothes, the private education, the subtle hints about family obligations. Everything clicks, but instead of clarity, it only deepens the confusion swirling inside her. Daniel's arrival throws everything off balance, forcing both Mia and Ethan to confront truths they've been avoiding. For Mia, it's the realization that loving someone like Ethan comes with complications she never imagined. For Ethan, it's the painful reminder that his life isn't his own, no matter how much he wishes it were. And for Daniel, it's the dawning awareness that his carefully constructed plans may already be unraveling. What happens next will change all of their lives forever, but none of them are ready for what's coming. As the confrontation escalates, Daniel reveals snippets of information that paint a picture far more sinister than either Mia or Ethan anticipated. There's talk of business deals gone wrong, alliances broken, and reputations hanging by a thread. It's clear that Daniel didn't come here by accident. He's chasing answers, and somehow, Mia and Ethan are tangled up in his quest. But before anyone can say another word, a loud knock echoes through the apartment, followed by urgent voices. Outside, the three of them freeze, unsure of who or what is waiting on the other side of that door. Whatever it is, it's about to make an already chaotic night infinitely worse. With the tension reaching a breaking point, Mia finds herself caught between loyalty to Ethan and the overwhelming instinct to protect herself. Ethan, meanwhile, is torn between defying his father and facing the consequences of his actions. And Daniel, he's watching them both with an intensity that suggests he's playing a game, only he understands the rules too. Just as the knocking grows louder and the voices demand entry, the screen fades to black, leaving viewers on the edge of their seats. What lies beyond that door? And how will these three navigate the storm brewing inside? You'll have to stay tuned to find out. The knocking grows louder, insistent and unrelenting, like a countdown to something neither Mia, Ethan, nor Daniel is prepared for. For a moment, no one moves. The silence between them, heavy with unanswered questions. Then, with a deep sigh that seems to carry years of regret, Daniel steps toward the door. His hand hovers over the knob, hesitating just long enough for Mia's heart to race even faster. She glances at Ethan, searching his face for reassurance. But all she sees is fear, something she's never seen in him before. Whatever is about to happen feels bigger than any of them. As Daniel swings the door open, two men in dark suits step inside without waiting for an invitation. They're dressed sharply, their expressions unreadable, but there's an air of authority around them that makes Mia shrink back instinctively. One of them holds a folder, its edges worn as if it's been passed through many hands. The other scans the room, his eyes lingering briefly on Mia before shifting to Ethan. "Mr. Harper," the man with the folder says, addressing Daniel with a curt nod. We need to discuss some urgent matters, privately. But Daniel doesn't move, his gaze still fixed on the intruders. Whatever you have to say can be said here, he replies, his tone leaving no room for argument. Mia watches the exchange, her mind racing. These men aren't ordinary visitors. They're part of whatever world Daniel operates in, a world she knows nothing about but suddenly feels dangerously close to. Ethan shifts uncomfortably beside her, his earlier confidence replaced by unease. It's clear he recognizes these men, though he hasn't said a word since they arrived. The tension in the room thickens, almost suffocating, as everyone waits for what comes next. The man with the folder clears his throat, clearly unaccustomed to being challenged. "Very well," he says, opening the folder and pulling out a document. He hands it to Daniel, who takes it reluctantly. As Daniel scans the page, his face hardens, the lines around his mouth deepening. Whatever he's reading isn't good news. Mia wants to ask what's going on, but something tells her not to speak. Not now, not when everything feels so precarious. Instead, she focuses on Ethan, silently pleading for answers. But Ethan avoids her gaze, his jaw clenched tightly. Finally, Daniel lowers the document, his eyes narrowing as he looks at the men. "This changes nothing," he says firmly, though his voice betrays a flicker of doubt. The man with the folder smirks, a cold, calculating expression that sends chills down Mia's spine. "You might want to reconsider, Mr. Harper," he says smoothly. "Your family's reputation is at stake, and we both know how fragile reputations can be." The words hang in the air, sharp and deliberate, aimed not just at Daniel, but at Ethan too. It's then that Mia realizes this isn't just about business. It's personal. This is about power, control, and keeping up appearances, no matter the cost. Ethan finally speaks, his voice low but steady. "What does this have to do with me?" he asks, stepping forward despite the obvious tension in the room. The man turns to him, his smirk widening. "More than you think, Mr. Harper," he replies. "Your choices reflect directly on your father, and right now, those choices are raising eyebrows in places you don't want attention from." Ethan stiffens, his fists clenching at his sides. Mia notices the way his shoulders tense, the way his breathing quickens. She's seen him frustrated before, but this is different. This is anger mixed with guilt, and it scares her. Daniel intervenes, placing a firm hand on Ethan's shoulder. "Enough," he says sharply, his voice cutting through the tension like a knife. "We'll handle this later. For now, I suggest you gentlemen leave." The man with the folder raises an eyebrow but doesn't argue. He exchanges a glance with his partner before nodding. "As you wish," he says, tucking the folder under his arm. "But remember, time is not on your side." With that, the two men turn and walk out, leaving behind a trail of unease that lingers long after the door clicks shut. Once they're gone, the room falls silent again. But the weight of what just happened presses down on everyone. Mia feels like she's drowning in questions she doesn't dare ask. Who were those men? What did they want? And why does it feel like Ethan and Daniel are hiding something far more dangerous than she imagined? She looks at Ethan, her chest tightening, as she realizes he's not the person she thought he was. Or maybe he is. But there's another side to him. A side shaped by privilege, pressure, and secrets he's been carrying alone. Ethan breaks the silence first, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'm sorry," he says, looking at Mia with an intensity that makes her heart ache. "I didn't mean for any of this to happen." Mia shakes her head, struggling to process everything. "What is happening, Ethan?" she asks, her voice trembling. Who were those men? What did they mean about your choices? Ethan hesitates, glancing at Daniel, who stands motionless near the door, his expression unreadable. For a moment, it feels like no one is going to answer. Then Daniel speaks, his voice calm but tinged with resignation. They're part of a rival company, he explains, his eyes locked on Ethan. One that's been trying to undermine us for months. But this... He pauses, running a hand through his hair. This goes deeper than business. It's about leverage. And unfortunately, you've become their target. Mia's stomach drops as she pieces together what he's saying. Those men weren't just delivering a message. They were issuing a threat, and somehow, she and Ethan are caught in the middle of it. Ethan slumps onto the couch, his head in his hands. I should have listened to you, he mutters, more to himself than anyone else. I should have stayed away from all of this. Mia sits beside him, her hand instinctively reaching for his. From what? She asks softly. What exactly are we dealing with here? Ethan looks at her, his eyes filled with conflict. It's complicated, he admits. But let's just say my father's enemies don't play fair. And now, because of me, you're involved too. The realization hits Mia like a punch to the gut. She's always known her life was unpredictable, but this is something else entirely. She's gone from scraping by to being dragged into a high-stakes game she doesn't understand, with people who see her as nothing more than collateral damage. Yet despite the fear coursing through her veins, she feels a spark of defiance. She won't let herself be used. Not without a fight. Daniel watches the exchange, his expression softening slightly. There's still time to fix this, he says, his voice firmer now. But it won't be easy. We'll need to act quickly and carefully. Mia looks at him, skepticism written all over her face. And what exactly does fixing this involve? She asks, her tone sharper than she intended. Daniel meets her gaze, his eyes revealing a mix of frustration and determination. That depends on how far you're willing to go, he replies cryptically. Before Mia can respond, Ethan stands abruptly, pacing the room like a caged animal. No, he says firmly, stopping in front of his father. I won't let you drag her into this any further. This is my mess, and I'll deal with it. Daniel shakes his head, his patience wearing thin. You don't have a choice, son, he says. Neither of you do. If we don't act now, things will spiral out of control. And trust me, you don't want to see where that leads. The room falls silent again, the gravity of the situation settling over them like a storm cloud. Mia feels torn between running as far away as possible and staying to help Ethan, no matter the cost. Ethan, meanwhile, is grappling with guilt and responsibility, knowing full well that his actions have put Mia in danger. And Daniel, he's balancing on a tightrope, trying to protect his family's legacy while navigating a web of deceit and betrayal. Just as the tension reaches its peak, the sound of footsteps echoes outside the apartment. Everyone freezes, their eyes darting toward the door. Someone is coming, and whoever it is, they're not here to negotiate. The final confrontation is moments away, and none of them are ready for what's about to unfold. The footsteps outside grow louder, each step reverberating through the apartment like a countdown to something inevitable. Mia's breath catches in her throat as she instinctively moves closer to Ethan, her hand gripping his arm tightly. Daniel stands near the door, his posture rigid, his eyes locked on the entrance. The air feels electric, charged with anticipation and dread. Whoever is on the other side of that door isn't here for idle conversation. They've come to settle scores before anyone can react. The door bursts open, revealing a woman none of them expected to see. She's dressed impeccably, her sharp suit and confident demeanor making it clear she's not someone to be underestimated. Her piercing gaze sweeps across the room, landing first on Daniel, then Ethan, and finally Mia. "Well, this is cozy," she says, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "It's Evelyn Carter," a name Mia has heard whispered in hushed tones during late-night news segments. A rival executive known for her ruthless tactics and unrelenting ambition. Evelyn steps inside without, waiting for an invitation, her heels clicking against the hardwood floor. She doesn't bother hiding the folder in her hand. It's identical to the one the men left earlier. "I assume you've seen this," she says, waving the document casually, as if it's nothing more than a grocery list. Daniel's jaw tightens, but he says nothing. Evelyn smirks, clearly enjoying the discomfort radiating from the room. "Let me save you the suspense," she continues. "Your little empire is hanging by a thread, Daniel. And thanks to your son's indiscretions, I now hold all the cards." Mia's heart pounds as Evelyn's words sink in. This isn't just about business rivalry anymore. It's personal. Every move Evelyn makes seems calculated, designed to dismantle the Harpers piece by piece. But what shocks Mia most is the way Evelyn looks at her. Not with disdain or indifference, but with curiosity. "You must be Mia," Evelyn says, her tone shifting slightly. "The poor girl who caught Ethan's eye." Mia stiffens, unsure how to respond. Evelyn chuckles softly, shaking her head. "Don't worry, dear. You're not my target. Not directly anyway." Ethan steps forward, placing himself between Evelyn and Mia. "Leave her out of this," he demands, his voice firm, despite the storm brewing inside him. Evelyn raises an eyebrow, amused by his defiance. "Oh, Ethan," she says, her tone almost pitying. "You really don't understand, do you? Your relationship with her is exactly why we're here. It's messy, scandalous, and perfect ammunition against your family. All I need to do is twist the narrative just enough, and your father's reputation, and yours, will crumble." The room falls silent, the weight of Evelyn's threat pressing down on everyone. Mia feels like she's standing on the edge of a cliff, the ground beneath her feet crumbling. She's always known life was unfair, but this feels impossible to escape. Yet amidst the fear, a flicker of resolve ignites within her. She refuses to let herself, or Ethan, be used as pawns in someone else's game. Daniel finally speaks, breaking the tense silence. "What do you want, Evelyn?" he asks, his voice steady, despite the chaos swirling around them. Evelyn smiles, a cold, calculating expression that sends chills down Mia's spine. "Simple," she replies. "Your resignation, publicly, along with a full admission of guilt regarding certain questionable practices over the years. In exchange, I'll walk away, leaving your precious family intact." Ethan shakes his head, stepping closer to his father. "No deal," he says firmly. "We won't give you the satisfaction of destroying us." Evelyn shrugs, unfazed by his defiance. "Suit yourself," she says, turning toward the door. "But remember, time isn't on your side. When the press gets wind of this," she taps the folder in her hand, "there won't be anything left to salvage." As Evelyn leaves, the room feels heavier, the stakes higher than ever. Mia looks at Ethan, then at Daniel, realizing they're running out of options. But instead of despair, she feels a surge of determination. If Evelyn thinks she can tear them apart, she underestimates the strength of their bond. "We fight back," Mia says suddenly, her voice surprising even herself. Both Ethan and Daniel turn to her, startled by her conviction. "We expose her," she continues. Whatever dirt she has on us, I'm sure she's got skeletons of her own. We dig deeper, find the truth, and take her down before she can hurt anyone else. Her words hang in the air, bold and defiant. For a moment, no one speaks. Then Ethan nods slowly, a small smile tugging at the corners of his lips. She's right, he says, looking at his father. We can't let her win. Not like this. Daniel hesitates, the weight of leadership heavy on his shoulders. But when he sees the determination in both Mia and Ethan's eyes, he knows there's only one choice. All right, he says finally. Let's end this. What follows is a whirlwind of action. Late-night meetings, secret investigations, and alliances formed with unlikely allies. Together, they uncover evidence of Evelyn's unethical dealings, exposing a web of corruption that reaches far beyond what any of them imagined. With the help of a trusted journalist, they release the information to the public, turning the tables on Evelyn and forcing her to face the consequences of her actions. In the aftermath, the Harper family emerges battered but intact. Daniel steps down from his position, choosing to focus on rebuilding trust rather than clinging to power. Ethan, inspired by Mia's courage, decides to forge his own path, free from the shadow of his family's legacy. As for Mia, she discovers a strength within herself she never knew existed, a resilience that proves she's capable of more than surviving. She's capable of thriving. The story ends with Mia and Ethan sitting together on the same couch where it all began, the fairy lights casting a warm glow around them. They've been through hell and back, but they've come out stronger because of it. Do you think we'll ever have a normal life? Mia asks, half joking. Ethan laughs softly, pulling her closer. Probably not, he admits. But maybe. That's okay. Normal was never really our thing anyway. As the screen fades to black, the audience is left with a sense of hope and triumph. A reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, love, courage, and unity can overcome anything.